After you hit a certain age, it becomes kind of hard to make friends, right? There's a solution for that. Welcome to the Good, Bad, and Ugly of Business. I'm your host, Catryn Becker. On this podcast, we talk to all sorts of different kinds of successful people because we want to learn what they have learned in their career to make them so successful. Because while a smart person learns from their mistakes, a genius learns from the mistakes of others. So the guest that we have today is an incredible community builder and has done such an amazing work for women specifically in helping us to rekindle and find friendships because after a certain point, it becomes kind of challenging. So I'm so glad that she's here to help you learn different ways that you can bring more community for yourself, for your business, for all of us. So Lori Olson, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited. It's so fun to have in our community. It's fun to be in your community as well.
Absolutely. So you are the owner of the Beauty Boost here in Houston, which is an incredible organization, and I will give you some time to talk about it. But that's how we met because you were building community. And I've gotten to experience it and witness it firsthand and see how you've really grown something pretty incredible here in the Houston area. And you're not even from Houston.
No, we moved here during the pandemic and at the very beginning, like May of 2020. So we're coming up on 4 years next month. And I didn't really think anything of it. I'm outgoing person. But there's a bazillion people here in the Houston area, obviously. And of course you meet people, right? But how do you meet your people? So COVID, of course, made it a little difficult to meet anyone. So, but once it sort of died down, I did try and get involved with my health and wellness business, some networking groups. But it can be really exhausting to just constantly go to different types of meetups and be going here and there and everywhere just to try and find your tribe, so to speak.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's what I was feeling before I even knew about the Beauty Boost being an option.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the Beauty Boost, and then we can get kind of more into that ability you have and how you've been so successful in your businesses before that, because the Beauty Boost is kind of a newer thing, but you've been in network marketing and which is community building essentially for your large part of your career. So I definitely want to learn about what are some of the things that you do because having an engaged audience is crucial in every single business. So it's really important what you're going to be sharing with us. But for the people who are probably like, what is the Beauty Boost? Let's at least get that out there so we can have that conversation as we go through.
Yeah, the Beauty Boost is really about inner beauty. So when people hear Beauty Boost, their first instinct is as something to do with like hair, makeup, outer beauty, which we do tie that in too, right? But the mission of the Beauty Boost is to help women feel empowered, healthy, and beautiful. And we do that through events and experiences. So every single month we put on an event that are open to anyone in the community. We do offer a year pass that is really just a discounted way to be involved in the community. It's almost like Amazon Prime for the Beauty Boost. So you can just snag a ticket every single month. You've already paid. You save money that way, but you don't have to get the year pass. You can just buy a one-off ticket, and all of the events do have a health and wellness and beauty vibe and empowerment, and they range between empowerment workshops, fitness events, socials, and day retreats. So that's really what we do. And we involve the local community and businesses in order to really put them on. They're our partners in crime.
Well, and it's your partners in like prosperity because
Yes.
everyone really wins from bringing all of these people together, and you have something for every single person. And how like I started this episode is it's kind of difficult to make friends after a certain age. And I think that's something I see so much on different social media, different mom groups, community groups, and things. Even though people are in those groups, they still feel alone. And you'll see
So
posts all the time about like, how do I make friends now? And I think I've been to 5 Beauty Boost events at this point. Got another one coming up later this month. Very, very looking forward to that. But I really have made friends through
Yeah.
that process, and it was unexpected. It's been a beautiful addition to just growing myself. What are kind
Oh
of
my gosh, I love hearing that. And to helping women make friends is really the mission. While we're empowering them, we know that that's a huge thing, is like making friends as an adult is hard. You aren't in sports together, you aren't in classrooms together, right? And everyone then ends up having different just likes, right? And interests as you get older, and they tend to get in those niches. So that's really what we brought like-minded women together, so that you already know you're surrounded by a group of women. And our brand is the woman who is kind, open-minded, not hoity-toity, loves health and wellness, but is balanced and likes margaritas and tacos as well with their friends. And when I learned about that woman, I was like, that's me, I am her, right? So not an extremist, but wants to plug into her self-care and make great friends and connections and relationships at the same time. That's the woman who attends. And when we say open-minded, we want them to be open to new experiences. They're going to try things they've never done before, like maybe a yoga class, maybe it's a, meditation, maybe it is, I'm trying to think
Well,
of
I
some.
know having my aura read.
Oh God, I'd never even heard of it until I started the Beauty Boost, right? So
Yeah.
it attracts people that enlighten me, even as the owner, to be like, what are aura readings? And then I saw it in real life, and it's just in a beautiful way to expose, obviously me, but all of the women to businesses they never even heard of, that can help them in their health, wellness, beauty, and empower them. And I hear that all the time. I learned about businesses I've never even heard of. Well, of course, we're not here. We don't bring in like Target, right, into the Beauty Boost. This is about local, usually small businesses that want to, have a spotlight in front of their target audience, their woman that's coming open and already knows what they're going to be exposed to and excited to learn about what is presented there for them. So that's probably the most important thing, is that it's an alignment by the woman who's there, but it's also alignment by the businesses that are there to add value to the events.
Well, I need to know the background story of how you even came to learn about the Beauty Boost, because it was started in Cincinnati, Ohio, and here we
Columbus.
are in Houston, Texas. And how did you even find about it?
So it started in Columbus. There is one
Oh,
in
sorry.
Cincinnati
The other
too.
C word in
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah. Well, I just want to give our founder, Rachel, the credit she deserves in Columbus. I know there's Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati. And
Point.
there's a lot of them, and they all have a Beauty Boost, of course, because it started in Ohio. But I learned about it through social media, right? And that's why we are so consistent too on social media, because you're talking about I don't even know if you said the word consistency, but that's what came to mind with any business. And that's probably one of the things I've always accredited to my success in my previous businesses. It's always like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I'm like, the same thing every day. It's not rocket science. It's just mastering that mundane, if you want to call it that. If you love what you do, I don't consider it that, but it can feel that way, right? For some people, like their message has already gotten out there, put it out there again. But it started in Columbus almost 10 years ago. And Rachel, our founder, literally, this was her brainchild. She thought of the whole structure of everything. And because it was such a hit, she stepped away from her corporate job. She became this entrepreneur. She loved yoga. She loved entrepreneurship. She loved health and wellness, loves, I should say. And so other cities were like, hey, do you have something similar you could recommend in our city? This is cool what you're doing in Columbus. And the first one that came around was Cincinnati, wanted to get involved. And so she started, kind of teaching them how to do it. And then she was like, hey, let's go big, right? And now we're in 30 cities across the country, which is exciting and new. I mean, I just talked to a girl in Philly the other day that was interested in starting there. So there wasn't one in Philly yet. And I was like, all right, you got to talk to Rachel and do this, right? So when I learned about it, it was someone I knew through my health and wellness business that I'm still a part of today because I love it to death. She was sharing, she was someone that I knew through it that lived in New York. She was sharing like, hey, I'm looking for these types of businesses, estheticians, chiropractors, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you doing? This sounds like our business, but this is not what we do, right? And she's like, let me tell you about it. And then I was like, well, is there one in Houston? And then I went and looked, I'm like, there's not. And I had been open to like something new, right? My kids are getting a little bit older, teenagers. One's going to be leaving for college. And when I learned more about it, and really, it really is the brand and the mission. And I wanted to work with businesses that align with me, as well as just individual women that aligned with me, get to know them. And so it was just a beautiful way that aligned with my love for health and wellness. It aligns with what I share in health and wellness and serve people on already. And I just felt like I had to do it.
Well, that's so fascinating to hear about. And it also is making me think, the company that you're with now, we can say it's Isogenics, but
Isogenics, yeah.
you were with another company previous to that. So, you have 2 decades of experience in network marketing, and network, it's community building. That's essentially what it is. So I know you must have seen so many people come in, and not everyone can be successful in network. Well, let me say that. Anyone can be successful in network marketing, but not everyone is. What do you think are some of the steps or traits or behaviors of the people, or you yourself? And maybe it's just consistency. Maybe we've already talked about it, but what are some of those things that make you successful at building those communities?
So I think that people usually get into direct sales, network marketing, or literally anything that requires you to sell something, right? Whether you're selling cars, you're selling makeup, you're selling massages, but what are you really selling is the question as an entrepreneur. It's not the thing. It's you. You're selling yourself. And people have to like align and want to partner with you and work with you. And once they like you, and it's okay if they don't, because that's not your person. I'm not saying you need everyone to like you. You just need to be yourself and be, consistent, putting out who you are, what you stand for, and tie in your business as well. And when they believe in you and your vessel, and you are consistent, which makes them believe that you'll be there and you're not here today and gone tomorrow, and they know you beyond the product or the service that you have, that is when they decide that they're open. They may not work with you yet. They're open to learning more about what you have. I've had people even work with me with Beauty Boost be like, what is this? I mean, I like you, so tell me, right? So, but that doesn't mean everyone does. And if they don't, that's okay. But it is really just about being, I think, bold and brave, and putting yourself out there to serve people more than you're trying to sell to people. And there's nothing wrong with selling. You're going to, right? But when it comes from a place of service and empowerment versus always the product in the face or whatever it happens to be, it just is more inviting to people. And then the second thing is just consistency. It really, really, really is. It's just showing up for yourself every day. And I don't think that most people who get into network marketing, direct sales, XYZ, whatever their product is, think of it as building community. They think they're selling just a product. Whereas when you are in a leadership role, if you want to go big, it depends on what they want, right? Some people are just wanting to sell the product. It's a little bit of side income, which is completely great and fine. But if you really do want to grow a community, an organization, a team in any area of entrepreneurship, business, whatever, you have to be learning leadership. And you have to learn what that looks like. A leader is not a boss, a leader is someone who embraces the strengths of a lot of different types of people so that we can all, grow together and benefit, and also creates community appreciation, all those things. So it's something you don't really get paid for, so to speak, but you do, right? Because it helps you grow the big thing.
Absolutely. There was a previous guest from Australia who was the direct salesperson in Australia, their head of their organization. And that's one of the things that she really stressed, was how much the little things meant everything. That when she would just reach out to people just randomly, like She was in a building and would go and actually physically see people and talk to them and really interact with them on a personal level. And I think that's part of that community piece of things. But this also leads me to think about, there is an element of self-worth to selling something yourself. I think the people who are the most successful are the ones who aren't making it about them.
Yes.
How do you think you overcame that? Or was it just something that was never something you needed to overcome?
Well, it's you have to wake up every day and go, who can I serve today? That's what I try and remind myself, that if my product and service doesn't help someone, or I don't believe it does, I do not have a business. So how do I articulate how I or this product or service can serve and help versus why you need to buy it, right? So that, other than, I still think it's very powerful to share your story. And that is when we kind of can turn the story about yourself and your journey into inspiration of what it could look like for someone else. So sometimes people get hesitant to share their story. Like I shared my story earlier. You asked me questions about my story. They're learning about me, but really this is about the person listening, right? And how my story can impact them. And so I believe the more transparent and vulnerable we can be with the pains and the struggles as much as the wins, is where you're going to attract people, because the person that your or my or their target market, right, is not in the winning place of what we have to offer, whether it's energy, weight loss, personal development, mental health, whatever you serve. They don't feel like they have it figured out in that area. They don't want to hear about your victory yet. Okay. They need to hear where you were. So, because that's where it's relatable. I can relate to the person that's in the struggling place, but then we want to bring them out in your story with what helped and what changed your story. So sometimes people just share when they want to share win, which I think it's great. Share your successes and have other people share your successes. We want to. What that gives you like, trustworthiness and power and
Credibility.
Credibility. That's the word I was looking for. But I believe that you're going to attract more people when you share how you got there. And maybe it's little tidbits like, I remember when, and you're a little vulnerable with the pains that you went through, because on the outside, we think those people winning just like, what are they doing that
Like an overnight success.
Yeah, they think it's overnight success. And when you share the struggles, it's like, I've been where you are too. And guess what? I told stories. I'm like, I just recently shared this about when I started the Beauty Boost. Like I struggled a little bit with imposter syndrome. Can I really do this? And guess what? I still struggle with that sometimes. There's some days everything seems going right. And other days I'm like, how am I going to pull this together? Right. So we all feel that way, but that's why community is so important, and to lift each other up, and where someone else has a strength, draw into that and learn from them. And then you can share something to help them too.
I love that you use the word vulnerability, because I think it is such a underappreciated word, because vulnerability actually takes great strength. Because the places that you're sharing from usually come from a place of guilt and shame about something, which are very isolating emotions. So when you can have the strength and courage to be vulnerable and to share those things, it really helps other people to, exactly as you were saying, to relate to it, to anchor into it, to find a place of doing that. But it's not the easiest thing for a lot of people to be able to get to.
Not overnight. Like I'll even write like, hey, tell me how you were feeling before, like even with Isogenics, how were you feeling, or what were your struggles before? Just like, give me 3 adjectives, you know what I mean? And then now, okay. And then I kind of help them write a story, and they're like, and I'm like, okay, we don't have to do that yet. Okay. So how about, let's just keep it more basic, but you can grow into it. And the good news is, in my experience, women are way better at doing this and being vulnerable.
Yes.
That other sex. And that's why people are like, why do you always work with women? I'm like, well, relatable, right? I am one, so I can relate to them more and how they might have been feeling and all of their women's issues, But on the other hand, I just feel like I personally can help them be more successful because I can just teach what worked for me, and they're a woman as well, So those vulnerability pieces, and most of them are, if they really, to go back to your point, it really comes down to how bad they want something. All of us, right? Like if I don't care that much about this, I'm probably not going to get all, vulnerable and transparent. But if I really, really care about what I have to offer, and how I can serve other people, I'm going to share it.
Mm. Well, and that's what I love about hosting this podcast. And that's why it's called The Good, Bad, and Ugly,
Yeah.
because we need to
I
talk
love the name of
about.
your podcast when I was like, oh my gosh, how true is that?
Well, and it's actually kind of a bit of a meta moment that we're having right now, because the whole reason we met was because of this podcast. Is you were looking for an MC for
Oh,
one of your
right.
events.
That's right. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
gotta tell people what you do. I didn't even know who you were. I was looking for a moderator for one of our events. And I was like, and from the other city owners, which we learn from each other, like podcast hosts are usually good at this, right? I'm like, oh, okay. So I started searching in a Facebook group podcast. And then I found a post where people are looking for different podcasts. And then you commented about yours, and I reached out.
And here we are. And isn't that
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about social media?
And be resourceful. That's the other thing I would say for business owners. Sometimes people throw their hands up in the air and I'm like, well, what have you tried? Like we have this thing called the internet, and you'll be amazed at what it can be overwhelming. I understand. And you should definitely be resourceful with people that have had success before you. But I found a lot through Google searches.
I mean, something that's been another common thread that I've seen just from hosting this is just how you essentially copy what someone else is doing until you feel comfortable to add your own special sauce to it and really make it your own, because it's just building that muscle and getting comfortable with it. And I love how you said that all of the different city owners for the Beauty Boost are so collaborative, that there's not competition amongst it, which is something that I think as women can be an area of challenge,
Oh, yeah.
of
And
supporting one another truly.
look at even in January when you spoke at our event with two other life coaches, all about some sort of vision casting and goal setting. However, you all were like, yeah, every single one of you that I talked to, because I can always tell if they're a fit, right? It's like, oh, she's out talk about that. That's great. I can build on that. And then I'll talk about this. That's perfect. Like that's the energy. That's the vibe. It's not like, oh, there's other life coaches there. Forget it. It's like, okay, how can we draw? Because everyone's going to be drawn to a different one, no matter what you say, right? Because it's your vibe, it's your energy, it's you. Again, it's you that people like and that they want to work with. So every single one of those people, ended up having future connections and clients through their segment of sharing similar topics. They just found the people.
It's exactly right. It's an energy, it's a vibe, it's being drawn to certain people and who we're meant to serve, because one person can't serve the whole world. There's what, like 8 billion people?
I know. And I think that we do that was a hard lesson for me too. When they say whether you're niche down or learn your target market, when you think, and maybe your product or service can help everyone, right? Probably a lot of things could. But the more specific you are, the more they understand what you do. Yeah. And your person will come. That was a really bad weakness of mine for a long time.
So as we're kind of wrapping up, I mean, this has gone by so quickly, which it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta wrap this up. What are some of the things that are next for you? I mean, the Beauty Boost kind of fell in your lap, but do you see that being something you stick with for a while, or what do you envision for the next 5 years, 10 years?
Oh, 5 years for sure. The Beauty Boost. I'll keep doing. I mean, Isogenics I will have with me forever. It's been over 10 years now, and I can't imagine a day without at least the products in my life. But it's not my only. I just got to a place with that you realize that you really are a leader, and I wanted to be able to lead and empower people, whether they wanted that particular product or not. Does that make sense? So, and I obviously could, but I was just trying to find the right platform to do that. The Beauty Boost really does empower everything that I believe in. And I do only do things that I 100% believe in and am passionate about. My bigger vision for it is we're the Beauty Boost Houston. Well, Houston only has about 7 million people in the surrounding area. So I can't do that. I can't, as we grow, I shouldn't say, I can't do that by myself, right? So as we grow, I want to be able to have multiple, like maybe so we have Women of Wellness coming up in April, right? So maybe there's a Women of Wellness Pearland, and there's a Houston South Women of Wellness, and there's a Women of Wellness Houston North, and there's Central. Like we have that many people wanting to come to these events that we cannot just hold one in one space.
I mean,
so we
for
branch
people
out.
not from Houston, anything in Houston is about an hour away from Houston.
Yeah, no matter how many miles, like, because I lived in South Dakota, if it's 20 miles, it's 20 minutes, 20 miles here can be like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's so time dependent. I mean, I know some of the people that I've met that I've had great connections with live, an hour and a half away from me. So thank goodness for Zoom.
Yeah,
And
I never understood how spread out and ginormous Houston was until I got here, so, and not just the space, the people. I mean, there's just so many people. We can only fit so many, right? So, that's really where, I mean, that's just part of where I'd like to take. I'd like to also expand upon the Beauty Boost Houston to be able to offer even more things as we have more ambassadors, more people who really want to take part and help. And I'm not just one, I do have ambassadors, but one person
well,
to do.
tell us a little bit more about what an ambassador is and what do they do?
Oh yeah. So ambassador, I call them our hype squad. So ambassadors get perks like a half-priced membership, year pass membership, and ambassador only meetups, and they want to get behind the scenes to help run events, get the word out, share on social media. Like they already love the mission, they love the events, and they're like, I do that kind of stuff all the time. I would love to get involved. It's like a committee, just like your ambassador for something else, because you spread the word, you share the love. That's what they do. But like I have they only have to be at 4, they only have to help run 4 events. And when I say help run, it's like you signed up to check in the first hour, right? You signed up to be that smiling face, watch for anyone that's by themselves and feels uncomfortable, if that, we don't ever want that.
Is that really something that someone looks for?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Over again. Yes. Content, right? Take pictures, whatever they like to do. I let them pick, So yes, I say over and over that most people, this is an important point, come to our events alone. Because they are looking to meet people, right? And make friends. So it's so important that people realize not everyone's there with a +1. Actually, most are not. So that being said, most people are a little bit nervous to walk in if it's their first time and they don't know what to expect. So obviously there's check-in and we're welcoming you, but then once they walk out, sometimes we're going straight into like a talk or something, but lots of times they're just mingling around. So I like to have ambassadors. Sometimes I just assign them, grab them as they come in, show them, what's going on, and just help them get involved if they're like kind of standing there, not at doing the experience stations, or if they look a little lost. I do that myself as well.
I love that that's something that you put intentionality behind, because that's probably the number one reason why someone wouldn't show up to something.
Right. Yeah, they're all just nervous or scared, and that's why I just try and put out that who the woman is, right? So that we're attract what we want and, don't bring in what we don't, right? So the kind, open-minded woman that wants to make new friends, loves health and wellness, self-care, empowerment. That's our woman.
And I definitely have seen that myself. I mean, I was thinking of the event that you held in February, and one of the experience stations was the woman doing the color matching to find your color. And so it took a bit of time to go through it. And so everyone was kind of just sitting there waiting, and we all started chatting amongst each other in line, and the woman hosting it did such a great job of bringing us all in and making sure it was kind of just like you were just sitting around with your girlfriends and just, having a really good time.
And so to her credit, it makes it memorable, right? The experience versus someone who's just got, that's a big thing. Our vendors are experience stations, right? So I always tell people, what is your complimentary experience for this woman? She does the warm versus cold with the colors, which is super fun. And she made it memorable because she got the women engaged and it was an experience. I did see that women were even just sitting there looking like, oh yeah, as the colors were going around.
Yeah.
I love that. After its social soiree, actually it was in another city, they took a picture and the city owner was so happy because these women went out to a bar after the event and had just met that night.
Oh, wow.
Like
That's
that's the
so
stuff that gives us the
cool.
warm fuzzies, right? So mission accomplished.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. And I cannot stress this enough to anyone listening, whether you are in Houston or another city, like please go look up the Beauty Boost in your area and attend an event. If you resonate with being a kind, open-minded woman who cares about having balance in her life and
Yes.
meeting new friends, I mean, yeah, you've really done such an amazing job. And I am so grateful to you, to knowing you as a person and the people that you have been able to attract in the community that you are building. It's been so
Thank
much
you.
fun and such an honor.
Thank you for being a part of it. I'm so thankful for you as well and being such a vibrant part of it. There's, people make a choice when they decide to get involved with the Beauty Boost, even as a business, and if they're kind of treating it like anything else they set up at, or treating it like a true community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is noticed.
I mean, what you put in is what you get out.
That's right. That's right.
So let's put in all sorts of goodness and get goodness
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. Make it memorable. Make it worth it when you're there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. Please share with people how is the best way to get in touch with you, how to engage in the Beauty Boost, Isogenics, or any of the other amazing things that you do.
So on Instagram, most people find us on Instagram, and for the Beauty Boost, it's at the Beauty Boost Houston. And when you start pulling it up, you'll see, oh, there's the Beauty Boost.
Columbus and
Hello,
Cincinnati.
Columbus. Yeah, you're looking for, if you're in the Houston or surrounding area, you're looking for the Beauty Boost Houston. And just follow there. I encourage you to look at we're very intentional on our Instagram as well. There's 3 pinned posts at the very top that explain all the opportunities to get involved, me, who I am, the next event coming up. And then there's a link in our bio that has tons, whether you're interested in becoming looking at being an ambassador that we talked about, or getting your business involved and getting spotlighted. Or you want to just attend an event and buy a ticket, or you want to get the year pass, or you want to open the Beauty Boost in your city. There's something right there in the link in bio for everything. So Instagram's huge. We are on Facebook too, the Beauty Boost Houston. We have an app when you go to the link in our bio, so that helps you connect even more with women in the area. For Isogenics, really my personal page on Facebook, Lori Olson, or on Instagram, Lori B. Olson. Yeah, I think that's all the ways. Of course, you can email and all that, but all that information is there.
Yeah, and I will have all of the links to make it super easy in the show notes for the podcast so people can just click and go right to you, connect with you, send you a note maybe that you heard it here, something like that. That's always fun. I've heard quite a few guests that they've reached out to and people mentioned that it was through this platform. So I think that's super awesome.
Well, and before you hop off, if you're in the Houston area and you want to come to our April event, you get 2 for 1. You get to go visit Catryn at her experience station, and of course, experience the Beauty Boost and the whole event as well. It's called Women of Wellness. We'll have speakers, we'll have experience stations. Do you want to tell them about what you're doing?
Yes, my experience station is going to be around feng shui. It's a piece that I incorporate into my coaching programs because it really helps to set up which directions are going to be the most directions for success. And I think about like success as like a destination on a map. And if you're pointing the wrong direction, you're going to be wasting your time and energy. So let's point you in the right direction for you so that you can hit your success faster and more efficiently. because I love that kind of stuff as an engineer.
That's right, you're an engineer. So it's Catryn, you do such a good job of pulling out the strengths in people and helping them, find the right path. Because I think people don't realize it's going to be different according to like who you are, and what works for some people is not going to work as well for me or
Yeah. I don't believe in one size fits all.
you. I love
Doesn't work for me. Well, Lori, thank you, thank you, thank you. I loved having this conversation. I love knowing you and working together and co-creating magic.
Absolutely. We're both blessed.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So to the listener, thank you so much for being here. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Definitely share with other people. If there's someone you've got questions about, whether it's an industry, a person, a profession, something that you want to learn about, reach out. I'd love to get them as guests on the show for a future episode. So until next time, everyone, take care and have a great day.